We are reclaiming public spaces with security. And we do have an amazing crew of ladies in the house. If you could have the ladies on the stage. Yes? Jenny Ottaway. This beautiful lady coming all the way from Australia is the CEO and founder of You. Devette Thompson. Hi. This lovely lady, Devette.
Dr. Neelam Gupta
is the CEO and founder of The Healthy Wives and author. Celebrating you. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. Dr. Neelam Gupta, founder and president of AROH Foundation from India. Welcome. Aro.
Welcome. Bhavini Parekh. Good morning. Welcoming Bhavini as well. She's the founder and CEO of Bhavini Parekh Bunjo Junko.
Arnella Orpis, founder of Stand Out Speakers Academy.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Arnella. Sunita Gupta, Principal Air Force Bal Bhakti School. Welcome. I think that's it. Yeah, they're not here.
If we could invite Jenny to speak with us. What a great way to begin day 5, huh? Jenny opens the house.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning and hello and welcome to everyone here. It is such an honor and a privilege to be speaking to you today on such an important topic. You know, and this conference has just been an amazing experience so far. So, you know, I just have to share how I came to speak about reclaiming public spaces with security. I have an IT security background, so I've worked for 26 years in corporate Australia, and I thought, great topic. This is right up my alley because I worked in IT security. So I was thinking this is about securing public Wi-Fi with security. Like I saw public spaces, that's how I see the world as in, you know, IT land. But what a great, when I finally came down to, you know, my heart and my soul, I went, actually, Jenny, you know what this is about. And, you know, I often leap before I look. And so this is the perfect topic for me because it speaks to myself and my soul. And that is about, you know, feeling safe in public spaces. A few months ago, I was walking through a bushwalk in Australia in a place called Byron Bay, and there's a lighthouse there that everybody talks about. I went up and I saw the lighthouse, and then I came down. You have to go down a pathway to get back to the main town area. And there were two paths. One was to go via sort of a car park area, and the other was to go through this beautiful bushland where you would be walking along the coast and admiring the sea. And so I thought, that's the route I'm going to take. As I started to walk through this marked path where there were signposts, I started, you know, there were a few people walking with me, and I was admiring the birds and everything and the dense foliage and just the different flowers. And suddenly I realized as I'm walking up and over through these paths, I am about the only one on this path. Where had everybody gone? So I felt very alone. And, you know, as a woman, I started, you know, all of my training or, you know, that conditioning that we have to be aware of our public surroundings kicked in, and I became fearful. I started running. I ran for about 5 minutes on this track, up and over, around tree roots, through the dense forest. Nobody was chasing me, but I was running like there was. And so I got to towards the end of the path, I heard voices, and I I felt relief, and kind of when I saw them, I pretended like nothing had happened. Yeah, that path is great. It's beautiful, and it got me thinking. When I finished, I missed so many things. I missed, to see the other birds because I was too busy in my head following, a fear that wasn't really there. And so I think we do this a lot in our lives, and we follow the things that and of course it's common sense to be aware of your surroundings. That goes without saying. But to create something from nothing out of a fear that I had, I think really, taught me a valuable lesson. So then I started to think, why are we as women conditioned to be this way? Do men feel this way? What can we do about it? How can we empower women to feel safe in a public space? And so I was kind of researching you can have GPS on your phone so that you can let your friends and family know where you are. You can have increased security, CCTV, and apps that can send your location. And I guess all of these things are great, but ultimately what it comes down to is the culture of the people. And we as people have to, we as people, and particularly as women, and I know that it's starting to happen. There's a movement, there's a shift of all of us women who are saying, you know what, it's not okay anymore for us to feel threatened. Guys, you don't have to feel this way. You're not, I rode the metro the other night, and we sat in the ladies only train, and it felt, there were hardly any of us there. The other carriages had lots and lots of men in the carriages, packed, jam-packed. But I felt so safe, and so, in this space of just the women. And I guess, as I said, we need to educate the cultures. We have to tell men, it's not up to us, the potential victims of being in a space where we're threatened, or perhaps even worse, our lives are threatened. So it's not up to us to make this a safe place. It's up to all of us to make this, all of our public spaces a safe place for us to feel that we can go out and be ourselves and not be fearful. And so with that, I leave you, and I thank you very much for being here and sharing this with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much.
And I never looked at my notes once.
Notes are just there to inspire you. No, that was beautiful. I mean, you started you were in the business when technology wasn't even this big how it is today. It is amazing. So thank you for having that background in technology and bringing that with you on the stage this morning. Thank you. A big round of applause for you. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Neelam Gupta. She's the president of RO Foundation, a not-for-profit organization working towards empowering poor, and it's designing programs for them. A big round of applause for Neelam Gupta.
Hello everyone, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you here. And I thank Harbeen and others organizers for inviting me here. It's such an honor and a great privilege to be here amongst you all distinguished delegates. I'm Neelam Gupta. I'm the founder president of an organization called RO Foundation, ROAROH, which means a ray of hope. So the foundation works in remote areas of India, in many villages. We are working in more than 200 villages in India. So this topic, I was very interested in this topic because it says reclaiming public spaces. And when we look at the rural context in India, we are finding that the public spaces are slowly and very slowly they are just diminishing. More and more they are in rural areas there are hardly any public spaces left. So the work is for reclaiming those public spaces, and then we come to the safety of women or others in those public spaces. So I would like to invite your attention to a word called Chopal. Have you anybody heard of word called Chopal? Chopal is a place in a village which is centrally located, and everybody used to come and sit there after their day's work. All the women would gather there, men would gather there, and they would have good time chatting, talking, exchanging notes of the day's happenings. And then there used to be a big tree on that, in that area where under the shade people would sit. Slowly we are finding that those things are getting lost. There is no public space for people to sit. They are just, in fact, reclaiming lands for development. There is hardly any land available for cultural activities, and this is weakening our cultural roots. When you don't sit together, when people don't sit together and talk, obviously we don't have that cultural bonding. We don't have traditional exchanges. We do not know where we are going. People are not connecting. So this is where our foundation, RO Foundation, also find that when we work in the villages, we do a lot of economic empowerment of women. We do a lot of activities for education. We do a lot of things to improve school education. But we were totally missing this cultural intervention where people could, where there could be a social cohesion, where people could come and bind, and where they could, take cultural things forward and give it back, give it also forward to the young generation. So here, what we are doing in the foundation is reclaiming those spaces. Let it be a chopal-like space where the community gathers. It could be a well. There used to be wells where women would come and fetch water and talk and chat and sit together and exchange, their day's happenings. So we are also developing those wells, because as you might know, in India, a lot of villages do not have piped water supply. So women come to public spaces, ponds and wells to fetch water. But if you don't reclaim those spaces, if you don't make them safe, if you don't make the water safe, then they are slowly, they are getting lost. So what we are trying to do is reclaim those spaces. Wherever, there is water space, there are ponds. Ponds are getting lost, they are getting filled up with trash, and they are getting, a lot of landfilling is happening in those ponds, and then mafias develop, and they claim that, land. So what we are trying to do is, rejuvenating those ponds, desilting them, so that men can come and enjoy themselves in those ponds and also do their daily activities. The cattle can come. So reclaiming ponds, reclaiming the public spaces is a very, very important activity for us. It's an integral part of what we are doing now in the village spaces. We are trying to develop sports, small spaces for sports and recreation for the young ones, when they can go and do, daily unwinding and playing. So all these activities we have done in more than 50 villages already, where people are utilizing those spaces. And like that, we are also creating spaces where women can do their livelihood activities. Like, if they are making garments, they can sit in one place and do it. So that cost is less, resources are less, and more work gets done. And training is also possible. So all these activities the foundation is taking up to reclaim public spaces, to reclaim, in fact, the lives which they used to have as public. We are trying to connect them. All individuals should feel connected, and they should become like public. So we are trying to build that connect in the communities, so that we can reclaim those areas, those spaces, and those cultural roots, so that the big tree can, take shape and give shade to everyone, every individual on this earth. With that, I leave you, and thank you once again for having me here, for listening me out and giving some time to me. Thank you, Harveen, for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Neelam, because what you talked about is, I think, especially in Delhi, which, it has the mindset of not being such a safe place, and especially in terms of the public areas. And the public areas are really the vital organs of a city. So if they're not safe, the women don't feel comfortable. Especially, like, I spent 3 weeks in Europe last week, and you feel so emancipated just walking around. You don't need to worry about the time of the day, who you're with, what's lurking behind you. It's a state that Indian women are always in. We're always a bit too aware of what's happening around us. which kind of, so that, and Harbeen was just talking to me about this as well, that we practice a lot of yoga in the parks of Delhi. So that is our way of reclaiming the public parks, because a lot of times they just lie astray. But when you come in with your yoga mats and, like there's a whole little community that gets established around the regularity of that discipline, that changes that space forever. So thank you for doing the work you do, because it is so meaningful and so pertinent in the day and age that Delhi especially is in, and the rest of India as well. Thank you. If I could invite Bhavini Parekh. Banko Janko. She's here to tell us a little bit more about it.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My dear soul sisters and gentlemen, I am greatly humbled and honored for giving this opportunity to share my life story. I would like to offer my sincere gratitude to the Women Economic Forum, and especially thanks to Dr. Harbeen Arora. I appreciate WF for organizing such a beautiful event for reimagining society, reclaiming humanity with a gender equality. We believe sustainability isn't just a trend or a next generation's job, but we see it is a moral responsibility of the citizen. My journey into the world began few years ago, being the trail with a surface ornamentations work for export houses, where I began training women from a various socio-economic background and culture. I was determined to work towards empowering these women and making themselves self-reliant. I used to go their places and I trained them. I told them, you will do the work. They said, what we have to do? I said, you know the needle, you know how to hold the needle and thread. Otherwise, all the things I will take care of it. And then they said, okay, fine, we will try. Then I'm talking about in 1989, during that time. Then we trained them. At that time, they used to earn 10 rupees per day. And then once we trained them, after that, they are used to earn 100 rupees in a day. And now today, that children are MBA, CA, working in the merchant navies and all that. And the second thing, their husband also helped them after coming from them job to help them in this needle thread work or doing the surface ornamentation work in their garments. So thus they are doing, and now they are very well settled. And this is the things in. So I trained more than 2,000 women and contributed in changing their lifestyle in sustainability. For me, Dhirubhai Ambani had remained in my inspirations. He once dreamed that every house should have a light. Today we see every house as a mobile phone. Similarly, my vision is to empower more than 1 lakh women in India by 2025, making them self-sufficient, independent, and confident in herself. Every day, many researches are being done to innovate new products, and technologies, but many we are not focusing on available resources. Today, we can see the threat of plastics, plastic pollutions, and now this is going to be happen for the textile industries as due to the fast fashions. We are Banko Janko, we are working on the textile upcycling, on the environmental sustainability. We used the unused textiles to make the garment, accessories, home furnishing, everything. We are training the women and making them to independent. They make the products and then we help them to sell it and how to sell it and everything. And thus we are encouraging the woman. We are contributing fairly towards the ecosystem to the present flourishing responses towards it, production, supply, and here we create tremendous awareness regarding various methods to save landfills, landfills, water, ultimately supporting sustainability. Famous quote by Bill Gates, he said, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will those who empower others. I urge everyone to follow your own dreams and use your natural born talents and skills to make this world a better and eco-friendly place for tomorrow. I request everyone, please raise your left hand and tap your back that we are a superwoman, we are a sisters, we are a healers, and we are a mothers, and we are a goddess warriors. And of course, the gentlemen, because you are surrounded by all these ladies or mothers or sisters, your wives, everyone. So here all of us are traveling on a same road, which leads to saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth, and these are one and the same fight. We must connect to the dots between climate change, water security, energy shortage, and global health, food security, and women empowerment. Solutions to the one problem must be the solution to all. Let's collaborate. A huge thank you to Salt Sisters and gentlemen. Enjoy the Green Year 2019. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavani. She is the Miss Climate Crusader 2019. Can you tell why? A big round of applause. Thank you for saving our landfills, our environment, our water.
From today itself, so 2019, we should not see the long ahead. From today itself. So I wish everyone should have the one sustainable product with them, then the world will change. And we have started with the utilizing the unused textiles. So people have a mind that used textiles we will not wear it, and we want the young generation to utilize this from every garment, so we can save the landfills from this fabric scraps.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the important work that you're doing. Next, I would like to call upon our last speaker, Ms. Thompson. If you can please come up on stage. She is the founder and CEO of Healthy Vibes and author. Welcome.
First of all, I would like to say I'm super excited to be surrounded by my soul sisters and soul brothers, finally. The topic of reclaiming public spaces with security is a tough one for me because I'm speaking from the perspective of a parent of 3 adult children, 1 daughter who suffers from mental illness, 1 daughter who is on the autism spectrum, and a black son in the United States. If either one of them are out in a public space and something was to arise, they would look just like you, and you. They don't have a stamp on their forehead to tell you that there's something wrong with them behind the scenes. My youngest daughter with autism, she may not be able to comprehend what you're telling her, so she might walk away from you as you're speaking to her. My oldest daughter may have missed one of her pills that day, so she may be in a manic episode. And my son is just a black man. I'm not sure if you all watch the news in the United States, but they're going about reclaiming public spaces all wrong. My name is Devette Thompson, and I believe in compassion, authenticity, and honesty. And I believe when we reclaim public spaces, you can't leave out compassion, authenticity, or honesty. I did security for 3.5 years as a security supervisor, and I was really good at my job because I saw the person, and I know that everybody don't fit in this little cute box. I approached everybody with compassion, authenticity, and honesty. My kids do not live with me because they're young adults. Well, 2 out of 3. I can't protect them. And I'm supposed to look forward to first responders to protect them. But from what I see on television, first responders in the United States are not properly trained. They need to be properly trained on dealing with people with developmental disabilities and mental illness. And when they see my son, they need to see my son and not a bad guy, because I didn't raise a bad guy. just want to say that when I did my job, I was trained very well. I probably didn't use that training. I spoke from the heart. And I treated people how I wanted to be treated. And that's gone out the window. In the United States, everybody's a bad guy. Shoot first, investigate later, and then ask questions. And I don't want that to happen to one of my babies. Once again, my name is Devette Thompson, and I believe in compassion, authenticity, and honesty. Thank you.
Devette, thank you for opening your heart and soul to us. So while we were reclaiming the public spaces that were on the outside, it brought us back to claiming the spaces inside, because we can't claim those spaces and create them with reimagination if we didn't begin here. So I think in this bond of sisterhood and this opening, this immense opening of the heart, the light that gets in is the reclamation of the space which we can take outside to create more beauty in the world. But it begins here, right here. And through all of your work and messages, and through all of your work and messages, and the love that's been shared, and all the beauty and the bonds that have been created, this is what is the celebration of it all.
Thank you. At that moment, we would like to call upon Dr. Harbeen to present our ladies with awards this morning. We have Jenny Ottawa, all the way from Australia, exceptional women of excellence. A big round of applause for Jenny Ottawa. Now I'd like to call upon Devette Thompson to come up on stage. Exceptional woman of excellence. A big round of applause for Devette. Now I'd like to call upon Dr. Neelam Gupta. Iconic woman creating a better world for all. A big round of applause for Dr. Neelam Gupta.